10th of April. We start with just a reminder that we are being streamed, and so best behaviour everyone. And just wanted to introduce Stacey Dorey in the corner there. She's a clerk of Torridge Council and also a legal expert, so she's just here to observe. Right, apologies for absence. Right, two things. First of all, Trevor is not well and won't be here. And secondly, I've had a letter of resignation from Jane Lowe, which I've passed to the clerk and she'll bring up in correspondence. Hello. Declarations of interest?
Yes, sir. On 195 Stevenson Hunt, just say that I am a member. Sorry. Yeah, 195 Stevenson Hunt. I am a member of Stevenson Hunt, and we use it for dead carcasses. It's not my hobby, not my sport, but I am a member, signed up member.
Can I as well? Sorry. When we discuss, are we discussing Thornhill Head on here? Yeah, I'm just, I've got a declaration of interest because my dad's a grazier. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Right, minutes of the meeting, Parish Council on the 13th of March. I wasn't here, but is everyone happy with them?
Mr. Clerk, sorry. On 193. Do apologise.
I just asked though, George, why are you bringing this up now and not before the meeting?
I was going to ask and say I do apologise. I've been working like clavers this week, sheep, and I haven't brought it up, which I apologise. Now you can tell me I can keep quiet and not do nothing, or I can bring up members' reports because I had a parishioner, who is my wife, brought it up. Just to say, well, first of all, you got a typo, she, not he, and just to say, but I don't know if you don't want me to say nothing, I won't.
Well, I did put a little clause out. I think I know what you're going to say, that it's not going to change the minutes. So, or do you want to make a statement about?
I want to make a statement if I'm not allowed to.
Well, you can, but I mean, we're going to vote on the minutes, aren't we?
To stay on 193 on the whether Parish Council would take on responsibility of Buckland Brewer playing field. I am the landowner, I'll say that, but I didn't realise when Councillor Staveley Brown says that I was told about it. I wasn't told about any meetings beforehand, and the only first time that I knew this was happening was when you came down and said something was happening. I admit that, but this is put in to me a wrong context, as though I'm telling a straight lie. The ramifications never came to my head until a long time after, so I just want to say that...
Okay, but you agree that the minutes are correct as they stand and written? I mean, that actually happened. I don't think you were in the room.
You came down to me, yes, that's fine, but I didn't know anything was happening before. And when I said I felt disrespected, that's what I was referring to. Okay, all right.
But generally we're happy with the minutes and I can sign them off. Okay, I'll do that in the end. Liz Renshaw's not here, is she? No, not yet. No. Okay, we can come back to that if she comes in. Public participation. Do you want a microphone?
Yeah.
Well, we want to hear.
Yeah. It won't get heard, otherwise I'm doing.
My main problem is your 202 in your part 2. To review and discuss previous council's decision to use money from Thornhill Head account to benefit the parish. Well, that's misleading. The previous council, in conjunction with Robert Hicks, allowed the clerk to take expenses for whatever work he did in conjunction with Thornhill Head and the graziers' payments. Now, it's not excess money. Had the weather been better in October, at least 50% of that money would have been used to replace fencing. I spoke to Andrew Hayward today, he would have come up, but you put it in a part 2, and that excludes him from talking to you. I'll give you this in a minute. This is part of an agreement, or part of a letter that was written from English Nature to Robert Hicks. I can't give you all of it because it's a letter that was private between the two, explaining the context of what should happen from their management of the moor. But number 9 here, account should be kept for the agreement, and any monies accrued should be retained in a separate account specific to this agreement. A reserve of perhaps £1,000 is suggested to deal with contingencies. Surplus funds should be used to contribute to the cost of scrub clearance or other works on Thornhill Head Moor. If it appears that there might be a funding shortage, the amount of work required can be reassessed. Please consult your advisor to ensure priorities are addressed. Now, that on paper tells you that the money has to be used on Thornhill Head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that will help with the discussion about excess
I think we're going to be okay on that.
I will give you this piece. If you wish to see the full document, you will have to speak to this.
Not necessarily. I have seen it, and I think we all have, haven't we?
Yeah. Sorry?
Well, this is separate from the agreement.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
I've seen it.
Piece of paper. And I would suggest you speak to Robert as regards field tenancy variations, because field tenancies have a habit of changing and changing and changing, and he has the knowledge to adjust any tenancy, because whatever tenancy is in place now will have to be altered, and a new tenancy probably written up.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the skills within his department to deal with that.
Okay. The actual item on there is really not about maintenance costs or anything. It's about something completely different. But we take your point. Thank you. Anyone else? Sorry.
Have you seen that or not?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Do you want to come down here and use some microphones so we can hear?
Press the button.
No, I think you're all turned on.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and councillors. I've recently written a letter, an email rather, to the Neighbourhood Highways Officer, a constructive letter, and I've received a constructive reply, which I have passed on to Joe. The last comment that he made was, please keep reporting surface defects that conform to the highways requirements. Second point, Mr. Chairman. At the last meeting, the wording of consultation document about the potential units was mentioned. During the conversation, one of the councillors actually made a comment about a reference to either a suggestion box or a comment box on the consultation. Has that been included in what you're going to send out to the general public, please?
We haven't done the process at all yet.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's noted, but we've not done the process.
Right, okay. I think it's a lifetime opportunity to consult the entire public in the parish, because you're going out to all of them, so you might as well ask them what their views are and thoughts about the future of the parish council. Sorry, of the parish. Sorry.
We can all answer that.
Sorry. No, that's not my comment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else have anything to say? Yeah, so Liz, I skipped over your piece, but now you're here. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, that's okay. So apologies for being late. I parked at the village hall and then walked up, checked my email and realised it was up here, so I walked up.
Would you like to take a microphone? Okay.
I'm happy not to, if everyone can hear me.
I think it's being streamed. We're being streamed.
Okay.
It's going around the world.
Don't be shy.
First for me, this is.
You don't have to sing.
No, that's okay. So good evening, my name's Liz. I'm the local PCSO for the area, for those that don't know me. I cover Northern Mackledore, Westwood Hoe, and then sort of all the way through to Heartland and Welcome, so Buckland Brewer included. I've got crime stats for the last 3 months. So I've looked on our computer system to see what crime has been reported for the parish of Buckland Brewer over the last 3 months. So in 3 months we've had 9 crimes reported, and these include 1 burglary, which is still being investigated, 3 criminal damage, 1 theft, and then 4 sort of self-contained domestic incidents as well. 3 of those crimes, so the 2 criminal damage and the theft, they occurred on the same sort of day and night, so they occurred on the 24th of January, and sort of believed to be the same sort of couple of people that hit one area, going to sort of farms and outbuildings, etc. So are there any questions about the crime stats? No? I've also included just a couple of our sort of springtime newsletters. So there's some information in there and some crime prevention advice. So I'll pop these on the table if anyone wants to read them. And then you possibly may already be aware of our Devon and Cornwall alert. For those that sort of aren't signed up to it, essentially you can register online sort of for emails for any crimes or information in relation to the area you live in, or if you run a particular business or say have horses, etc., you can sign up for information regarding that. So for example, it might be we've got a high risk missing person sort of believed in the rural outskirts of Biddyford. Anyone signed up to this scheme might get sent a picture of that person, sort of if you see this person, please call the police straight away. Or, you know, alternatively, we've had a increase of breaks to sheds or garages, you know, please be mindful, make sure your equipment's locked away, etc. So it's a good way of finding out what's happening in your area. So you can sign up online, or you can fill these in and post them off or drop them into the police station. And then I've just got some team posters for myself and my colleague, PC Dan, who we cover the area of Buckland Brewer. So we've got a news board that it might be okay to have. They've got one in the shop, but yeah, just get our names out there, and if anyone wants to email us about any queries, our email address is on there. However, if you need to report a crime or an incident that's ongoing at the moment, it's an emergency, still use 999 and 101. Quite often, emails are good if you've just got a question you're not quite sure about. We might be able to advise, yes, that's a crime, report it, or no, you might be able to say go to the council, etc. So there's that one there. That's it, unless anyone has any questions. No? We're penciled in to come to the village fete again this year. So by all means come over and say hi. We quite often have sort of crime prevention leaflets, or if you've got any youngsters with you, we let them sort of go about in the car. So just make sure you come over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't think we got a cup of tea last year, but that information's...
That's terrible. I can talk to the secretary.
No, it's okay. All that information's there, that's for anybody if they want it.
Thank you so much.
That's it. Cool, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Cheers.
Clerk's report. Joe.
I'm without a microphone at the moment. I'm trying to read things. So can you hear me okay? Right, so I've just been handed a letter regarding the website. It's further complaint that some of the information hasn't been posted, and suggesting that I might be selecting what's going on there. I promise you I'm not. I'm putting everything on there that I can put onto the website. As before, there are some bits that are operational, there are some bits that really aren't. So I'm trying to get on as much as I can. Most of the information is having to go onto the news page, which is the front page. So it does mean that other messages drop off, right, because there is a limited space there. On the subject of the new website, that is in progress, and hopefully I'll have some more information about that at the next meeting, to give you an idea of timescales and what we're actually going to be looking at, but the preliminary work has already started. Right, there's some information that has just come out about locality budgets, so I'll leave that, so I'll district council and I will mention that. I will forward that on to all councillors tomorrow. I have sent through some supporting information for the footpath grant. So I'm now awaiting either a reply or the payment directly from the accounts team at Devon County Council now. Audit. We're at the end of the financial year. Okay, our financial year is just finished. The same auditor is doing the audit for us as the previous 2 years. We do need to look at our first line auditor, so that's the person that initially examines our documents. The one that we've used previously is down in South Devon, so we might want to look at something a bit closer than that, but I'll raise that with you perhaps later or after the meeting. As far as parish is concerned, there have been a few sort of comments and complaints. One regarding the proximity of a new home to a house in Orley Close. It doesn't appear to be a problem with planning, with a problem with not adhering to planning. It's just very close to the house and probably a lot closer than the resident anticipating. Now it's going up. But I have told them where they need to contact if they do want to raise any concerns. There's also a dispute going on about parking spaces. Again, it's not a council matter, but the residents need to look at their own deeds initially. Somebody has raised a query about the construction site on Broadwood Road. Some notices went out from Torridge Council Planning. It looks like something's been put live onto the system and it shouldn't have done, so those notices aren't valid, but it does look like the landowner has put in a new planning request. There is obviously something wrong with it, and so it's gone back to them, but it does sound like there's something happening, so I'll just keep an eye out for a planning application in the usual way. So that's just for information. But the resident was just trying to find out timescales because she thought it was all going to be happening imminently, so who knows.
Is that the top building site of Gold Road or the one, the bottom one is nearly
The
finished?
larger one that's potentially going to have all the houses on.
Yep.
Yeah, but the council hasn't received any planning applications for review since the original one, and I noticed that was 2004. So that's it.
It's not the place for you really, but if you want to say something quickly.
Well, it's just that I used to rent there. It has been sold to a developer in the last month. And he will be building sometime in the summer when the weather's better.
And he's got his planning permission.
There's an original application many, many years ago that still stands. So if there's anything done, it will be another update to that.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Joe, did you do updates in that? Yeah, okay, thanks. Right, moving on to decisions. 194, Devon Communities Emergency Planning Grant. Decision to be taken whether to apply for funding before the end of April deadline, including agreement of the amount, the maximum of 1,500 and the specific purpose. Any comments, anyone? I saw the information you set out and the form you filled out. I think it's perfect, you know, that's my opinion of it, you know, and that's what we should do. Are we all agreed on that? Do you want to vote?
Yeah.
Do we? Okay, all in favour of what Joe's already put out? Thank you. Right, Stevenson Hunt. We were here to discuss and decide whether to allow trail hunting and look at the risk assessment, but there's been a development that will need to be explored before we can do anything. Joe, do you want to highlight that to everyone?
Chairman, can I just clear an interest that I am the chairman of the Farming to Farmers Hunt, a neighbouring hunt for Stevenson.
Okay.
I will take the part.
Yeah. Joe, would you like to, because you found the information, or would you like to speak about it, Hen?
It's basically to do with the our Thornhill Headmore and the SSSI. Within the agreement, it clearly states that no sports. Does anyone want to see this?
I've seen it came out
So
on
no
an email.
sports are allowed. If you look a little bit further in, it basically says that we should be getting Natural England's consent if it's going to ruin the land in any way. And obviously, I mean, I've done research on it. It's, I would imagine that would be a big fat no from Natural England because of the various stuff that we have got on the land. The ground floor and stuff like that, and so we should be seeking permission from Natural England if we are to carry on with that.
Yeah, having read it myself, I agree totally that Natural England are saying that we can't have those events up there and we shouldn't have had them. I see we've got two options. We either say in future that we don't have the hunt up there, or we have to, as Hen says, ask permission to allow them from Natural England.
Yeah, I mean, there is a clause in you cannot have sport there, full stop, which wasn't picked up right through, never brought through, whatever it is. So when that clause is, you either got to appeal, like Councillor Hen says, or you've got to not have it there. I mean, you can use the council roads, whatever, but then that's the way it is. We've missed it.
I think the main problem will be is if we now state that the hunt or trail hunting has carried on up there, there could be a possibility that Natural England might take umbrage to that and ask for their money back.
Quite agree.
I agree. The only thing, you know, is that Hicks and Co are managing it up there, and they haven't reported any damage. So, you know, hopefully that would be on our side. But really, what do we want to do? Do we want to vote?
I suppose that going along what you were saying there, Hannah, is I've never been aware that they're up there. I wouldn't be surprised, but has there been any kind of indication that anybody's been aware of the fact that it's taken place up there, apart from recently?
Well, yeah. So we've got a reason, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah. And it also says there a bit further down from where you was reading about kind of excessive or unreasonable disturbance to wildlife, and that kind of just backs that up.
That's what I read into it. I mean, what do we want to do?
Does that, when you say unreasonable disturbance of wildlife, does that, you've got animals up there, cattle, whatever, but also you've got people wandering around with dogs up there from the parish. The unreasonable disturbance of wildlife includes the dogs. So,
no,
I mean, what do you?
I've looked into
it's
that.
It's unreasonable disturbance of woodland.
One at a time.
Sorry.
The unreasonable disturbance is, I mean, there's no public footpath up there, but that's probably going to the nth degree. But it is a decision that's got to be made.
Yeah, sorry. It comes under the, if you can consent without damage, it comes under the operations likely to damage. It's called OLD. And walking your dog doesn't come under that. They have a complete list of what does.
Sorry,
Yeah, I concur
Sorry.
with Anne, actually.
Yeah, sorry, I don't agree. I
Okay.
mean, it's whatever.
Can I just, because I also know that there is people exercise horses and that on the moor as well. So we're going to have to put signs up and everything for walkers, bike riders, everybody.
Yeah.
And I've got something to bring up in members' reports later, but yeah, it's, you know, it's going to have to be across the board, isn't it, apart from walkers then, or...
Would it be worth writing to Natural England and asking for clarification of what we can and can't do?
Well,
I mean, it could be that Councillor Hayward's got a point, that it's a recreational activity, and that's what it comes under. Obviously, in our main grid it says sport. In other documentation, it will refer to it as recreational activity, you know, but it's anything that's going to damage that moor, or put it under what's known as old.
sorry. Sorry, it says damage, not physical damage, it's damaging wildlife in there. And we got very shrewd, very rare stuff up there, allegedly, so I got no idea. You got stuff up there, and where do you conclude? I mean, there, Natural England could take all the amount of money we got back up there if we're not careful, so you've got to be very careful on how you interpret this.
So how would you...
Well, I think the thing to go forward is possibly that our clerk gives Natural in England a ring and finds out the exact list of what we're allowed to do up there and what they would see as the operations likely to damage.
I agree. Agreed?
Can we specifically also mention
Dog walkers.
dog walkers, people exercising dogs up there when they take off a rabbit or hare and whatever it is. But also you've got cattle up there. You've got cattle up there, you've got the risk to walkers if they turn nasty, you just don't know.
Are we all agreed that that's where we should go?
Yeah.
Joe, can you do that, please? Thank you. So, with regard to 195, we need to defer that until we've got some... Yep. Until we know where we're going. Village scene. To discuss and decide whether to continue sending notes to the village scene.
Well, all I can say is that, as far as I've seen, it's caused nothing but upset through toing and froing of what is expected of us as a parish council to put into the village scene. And I think, personally, that we've got to a stage now that I know that Councillor Ainsworth has tried to put something into the village scene and it's all gone horribly wrong. And I personally, I think if the editor of the village scene wishes to put something into it with regards to the parish council, then maybe they could take notes themselves and put in whatever they wish.
George?
Thank you, yes. What I sort of thought was, yes, you've got to have signed off minutes with or parish council agree with. And yes, they're going to miss a month, which they can fill up with something, whatever you like, whatever. But then once the system works, the signed off parish council minutes, yes, it'll be a month old, but the village scene will have the correct agreed signed off minutes. And I would just propose that when the clerk has done the signed off minutes, and if the village scene will accept it, it's 2 months old, which they will be able to put something in, whatever. They will miss this once you get the circle going, is all right, but you will miss a month. And I'm proposing that we have the signed off minutes sent to them, which will be a month behind actual parish council meeting. It will be factual.
I'll second that.
Yeah, just before we vote on that, I mean, this is basically what Joe proposed right at the beginning.
Right, exactly.
And it's turned out
But
to
I
be
think the
right.
problem was it was because it was going to be a month old.
Yes.
It was the problem, wasn't it?
Okay, and I agree with George, if they want to, if the press want to report anything, then they should send their own reporter.
Yeah.
In favour of...
Which clause?
Sorry, just producing the signed minutes when they're signed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Because it will be on the website
Right, members' reports. We start with you, Sally.
Yes, going back to Thornhill Head again. Reported quite a lot of potholes up there. They have been doing some work on that road, and obviously the road that goes to St Newton's and Petrock. How good a job they've done, I don't know. But a parishioner went up to that was repairing it, and she quoted the size of the potholes that were supposed to be measured at, and he was quite impressed that she knew. So that was quite good. Also, at the gate, the pedestrian gate from the parking area, where the sign is, was damaged, and there was string over it. She put string over it, and people kept leaving it open, which obviously was a concern, because especially if the bullocks go out soon. But Richard's been up and repaired the gate now. It is actually catching and locking again. We had rubbish, I think rubbish tipped up there as well, fly tipping, which has been collected now. There's also a lot of cars going on the verges up there, which again, like what we've read tonight about damage, etc. On the left-hand side as you're going down, there's a lot of cars been up the verges and really churned it up. And I would like to really bring some of this to the meeting to be discussed next time. And also the car parking area. Should we be thinking about putting something up? You know, not the main car park, but as you go down the more on the right-hand side, I'm wondering whether we ought to put something up along there to stop cars going in any further. You know, like they've got down Westwood, the North Borough, to stop cars going any further than again. And the other thing about Thornhill Head is, because of the fly tipping, which has happened quite a bit as well, I would like to discuss at a later meeting about whether we put cameras up with solar panels to try and prevent fly tipping up there. I just think it's something we need to discuss to protect it.
Sorry, Sally, is there any way that the environmental health could help us on that? Because it comes under the Town and Country Planning Act.
It might do.
And it is the council that sue. Whether we can do something in conjunction with that?
Yeah, maybe go half and half or something even. Yeah. I've reported the guard sign on Gorwood Road as well at Gorwood Cross, because the no access for HGV vehicles is still down. Yeah, and that's it.
Okay. Be interesting if we're up there protecting the moor, as you said. You know, could we use money from the moor to protect the moor?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we've got the money, so yeah.
Thank you, George.
Turned off, George.
Yeah. No, yeah, I still have to have a ruling on this. I remember a person has brought up to me reference the Buckland Brewer Playing Field Association. Now, I am the landowner. Now, you get them, whether you decide you allow me to speak on behalf of a member of the parish council, member of the public, and I will declare it that it is my wife, but just to open this. But she has got a few points that she wants to point out. So I need a ruling whether you allow me to speak or not.
Joe, what do you think?
Well, we don't really know what you're going to say.
No, I'm just saying, can he report something that?
There's no vote, so yeah, if it's something that is not permissible when she starts speaking, I might wait like you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Buckland Brewer Playing Field Association was set up as a playing field association. You've had meetings now recently because you get in difficulty in running it and all the rest of it. But the fact is that it is a playing field it is a playing field. You're asking that the parish council take it over because it can save money on the insurance in the children's play area. The problem with that is once our insurance company realise they are not only insuring the parish council stuff, they are insuring equipment that children go, and if there's a liability claim on it, which could be several from 20 pence to 300 whatever, your insurance, I'm afraid that Buckland Brewer Parish Council insurance is going to go up as well, so you're going to increase on that. Now, the thing is, it is set up as for 190-year lease for a Buckland Brewer Playing Field Association, and the trust says that, and the 3 trustees on it is running it. They've got to decide when they come off it and all the rest of it. But it's pointed out that what you're going to use it for, it's got to be for Playing Field Association is what it was set up for. I'll leave it to that. But the parish council's got to look at what the cost of the insurance is going to be to them.
Okay, I know what Head's going to say, but I'll just say, have no fear. That is not been overlooked, and it will.
Yeah, just to answer your question, we've looked into the insurance. Joe kindly phoned up our insurance to find out, Joe.
Yeah, and I've submitted the details of the equipment. I'm just waiting for confirmation of the cost, but the public liability was not an issue at all. And the insurance premium doesn't increase a great deal.
In fact, they're not putting it up at all for this year if they were to take it over now. So
I'm just
good point.
On,
good point.
But it hadn't been.
It hadn't been missed, George. It had been discussed. Obviously that's important.
But yes, you had nobody had approached the land. Myself, the landowner, had it at all.
And the second part of what your question was, George, is there is going to be absolutely no change to that playing field. It will just carry on as it was. It's still going to be a playing field. Be rest assured on that. There are a lot of people doing a lot of work up there at the moment. Myself, my partner, and Phil, we're all going up there planting bulbs and making it as pleasant a place as we can for the families, and there are plenty of families still using it. Nothing is going to change.
Okay, thanks.
It would be nice to be included in all that.
Does Councillor, would you like to come and plant some bulbs?
Sorry?
Would you like to come and plant some bulbs?
It would be nice to be included in the discussion.
Oh, in discussion. Right.
Well, I'm not going to discuss
That's
it with
not.
you here.
This is.
I'm sorry?
This is only a member's reports now. It's not a discussion. Okay,
I can't
right.
discuss it with you here.
Your turn.
No, I'm all right.
Nothing?
No, nothing.
Yes, thank you. Southwood Meadows, members of the public are contacting us again regarding, and I think they are coming to an end for now, but Alison Homes are still using Southwood Meadows to drive in with their lorries, realise they've made a mistake and having to go back out again. One of the parishioners has had their garden ornaments damaged, and Joe, is there any, I think you're aware of it, I made you aware of it, so that is still going on. Also, the road sweeping came up the other week and it was doing a dry run and it just looked like the Sahara Desert by the time we finished, and everybody's cars and houses were just covered in dust. But I believe that Alison Homes are pulling out now this April, so they're taking, no, they're leaving some undone. They're not carrying on. They're taking a break, and then they'll come back whenever they are, I suppose.
Okay. Catherine?
Hi. A little bit the same as Sally, really, about Thornhill Moor. I believe they've just done 4 potholes, and they said there's like 40 left to do. There's lots down there. But also, they're talking about, I was talking to some parishioners about, through the village, about how bad it is. I've done lots of, reported lots of them, so have lots of other people. Also, some of the pavements, people have reported that the lorries have been parking on the pavements, and the pavements have got like a dip in them now. So there's like water, when it rains, it just accumulates. And so if anybody can report that as well, that would be great. And also about the, that's it. That's everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David?
Nothing new, but I was just saying about the roads. I think it's got to the stage now, it's more than just potholes. I think the whole structure of the roads are collapsing. I think I could give the contract back to the Roman army because he seemed to do all right.
Thank you. For me, the only thing I have to report is, following from last month's meeting, the water at the allotments was switched on the 31st as
We don't
asked.
need it yet.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's that. Right. James. James and Phil, you're wrong.
Hello, Phil. Oh, James, how are you? Proper. Mr. Chairman, members, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who don't know me, I'm your county councillor. Still proud to be your county councillor. Am I enjoying it? Yes, I think I am, really. It has its challenges, like yesterday. I was in a 7.5-hour meeting at County Hall, and that took a little bit of sorting. The main things that are top of the tree at the moment, devolution. Devolution means more powers coming down from Westminster to be decided in Devon. It is an agreement between Torbay, Devon, and the districts within Devon, excluding Plymouth. Plymouth have decided to do their own thing. Cornwall are going for devolution. We are too. There's been some discussions with, and Phil will verify it, with the districts, and I can understand that there is an element of concern as to are our district councils possibly being forgotten about in devolution deal. Would that be, some would hold that view, Phil? That'd be right, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I have some sympathy with that. Yesterday's meeting on devolution, that's what 7.5 hours was about. You know, I was very proud to stand up and speak on behalf of Torridge. The leader of Torridge has spoken to me in great detail about it. You know, it sounds right that local people can make more local decisions on where money is spent. That all sounds great, doesn't it? But what will it actually mean to the people of Buckland Brewer? Very, very little is the actual truthful answer. Basically, it is largely about money and powers that at the moment is decided in Westminster will be decided on a more local level. I'll give you more details about that as time goes on. Locality budget was mentioned earlier by one of the councillors. I'm very pleased to say I've got 8,000 to spend in Holsworthy Rural. Holsworthy Rural is here to Launceston, basically. So it's a big old patch. I've got 30, I think it's 32 parishes I represent. Many of them don't ask for anything. Some ask for a lot, as you would imagine, and don't get it. There is a huge differential in parish council funds. There are some parish councils that have 45, 50,000 sat in their banks doing nothing, bar gaining interest. And largely that has come from development, 106 agreements. There are other parishes that have 500 quid, £1,000. I believe that if I can divvy this 8 grand, 8 grand isn't a lot of money, but it might just make a lot of difference sometimes when there are projects on the ground. You have to have an involvement from perhaps you as a parish council and an investment from Devon County Council, and that helps put the package together. And although it may only be 200 quid, it ticks a box for that particular project. I tend to leave it to the parish councils. If you guys say you want 200 quid or 500 quid for something, you apply to the locality budget in Exeter. They write to me and say, do you agree? And if you've agreed, then I agree. That's the way it works. Potholes, yeah, potholes and roads, you are quite right. We are asked to have cars that are roadworthy to drive on roads that are not carworthy. That is the way I look at it at the moment. There is a huge area. This is the second biggest county in England for the road network, 8,500 miles, I think it is, of road network in Devon, one way and another. Devon's priorities are A and B roads. We have a few of them in Holsworthy Rural, but not too many A and B roads. And what I'm very concerned about are the roads such as the one I've come through today. I come through Torrington. Once you're out of Torrington and off that main Torrington to Bideford Road, apart from going across at Catsborough Cross, I'm on all non-classified roads. And there are thousands of them within Devon, certainly hundreds. And are we as a county council actually saying that, well, they're not priority and we're not going to do anything? You know, why is that right? Why should the residents of Buckland Brewer who pay their council tax and road fund licence and everything else be any worse off than those in Exeter? And I very often say that and very often get put on the naughty step for saying it. But I don't care about that. I'm representing you guys and people like you, and I think you should have a strong voice. I'm not on an election campaign because I'm not standing next time, so there's none of that. But those of you who know me know that I shoot from the hip. Most times, hopefully, get it right, but occasionally you get pulled in on the naughty step. I've had 11 correspondence in the last month from your residents and businesses, quite a few from businesses, interestingly, mainly agricultural businesses, on all sorts of issues. People talk to me about all sorts of things. And sometimes it's got nothing to do with me at all, but I'm able to open the door to where they want the right people to talk to. I've had 5 on potholes, 4 on agriculture issues, to include 2 young people that want to enter the industry and inquiring about how they apply for county council farms. Devon own a large acreage of county council farms, about 9,000 acres, I'm told. We're one of the few counties that still have their county council farms, and as long as I'm there, I will do everything to make sure they do. But that is a big acreage, and that's lots of farms, and that's an opportunity for young people, perhaps who haven't been fortunate enough to be given a farm from dad or granddad or whatever, but want to get into that industry. Agriculture still is our biggest employer and our biggest economic driver within Torridge, and sometimes I wish politicians of all ranks and colours remembered that. There's only 3 districts that have that, us, Ribble Valley, and there's one more in Wales somewhere. But that is a true fact, that agriculture is our biggest economic driver. And the only reason that tourism is in second place is because our farmers keep the fields green, blue, yellow, the hedges trimmed, etc., etc. So that's that. What else have I got to talk to you about? Not too much else, I don't think, Mr. Chairman. No, one final thing. As Chairman of Investments and Pensions for Devon County Council, that is a really dry old job to do. And I continue to get lots of letters from people that want us to de-invest, is the word, de-invest, not invest in companies linked to fossil fuels like Esso and Total Butler and people like that. But for every 12 letters that I get saying, for every 1 letter saying disinvest, I get 12 letters from people whose pensions we are investing, pension money we are investing, saying, yeah, hear that, but get the best buck you can. And it just puts it into perspective, you know, the balance that we have to do into being responsible and reactive. The world is changing its viewpoint and the way that it looks at environmental issues. But the truth is, too, for every 1 that I get saying, don't invest in Esso, I get 12 saying, get the most money you can from my pension. Any further questions, Chairman? Please do ask me.
Anyone? Thank you. Phil, you got stuff to say?
Not really.
Yeah, just, that's fine.
I better say something now, I got you.
Okay.
Right, best wishes from Fristock to start with. They start at 7 o'clock, so I didn't get here at 10 to 8. They had a full meeting, they let me out early, so they send their best wishes to you from Christoph. I bring those to you. Interesting things James said. We've had the discussions about devolution, and yes, we do feel we might be forgotten, but we've been forgotten for years, so what's the difference? We just got to keep making our own position known to those that are in power. We've got 5 Conservative county councillors. They work hard for us. We thank you for the work you do, James. And John Hart has done a great job at Devon, and I take my hat off him, even though I'm an independent, actually. So, you know, he's done a good job, so I say thank you to him from that point of view. It will be hard to argue our case, because I'm worried about the governance at the devolution. It is a deal between Devon County and Torbay, and as the governance sits up, there is 3 seats on Torbay, 3 seats on Devon, and 1 and 2 district councillors, if I remember rightly. Now, what concerns me slightly is that all you need is 1 of the other 5 to go with Torbay, and there's a natural imbalance in the governance of the system, and I will be guarding that and seeing how the decisions are made on this new authority, and I don't want to see it also from the point of view as another level of government, because we're already 3-tier. You know, we've got district, we've got parish, town, we've got county, and now we're going to have the devolution CCA coming between it. So goodness knows how far up the ladder we've got to get before we get hold of anything from that point of view. So that was my concern, and I did register that with Ken James, who's our leader from Torridge District Council. Just to say, Torridge is only about the 90th size of Devon. We only do little bits and pieces, as James would know. He led it and he wasn't very happy. We needed small stuff before he went on to higher things at Devon County. So when you had your council tax bills last week, it was Torridge that sent them out, but we only get about 8% of it. James gets 72% of it. You know, you need to ask him, well, what happens to most of your money from that side. So, but what we spend our money on mostly is delivering services along with refuse collecting, planning, environmental health, democracy. We do the elections. One of the groups of people, and I see Stacey's in the back row tonight listening to me, unfortunately, so I'm going to be very careful now because I'll be up before the standards board again. Sorry, Stacey, I should have. Our solicitor's here with us tonight, and I'm just talking to some of our democracy guys. We've got 3 elections coming up now in the next 13 months. We've got the Police and Crime Commission now on the 2nd of May. Who knows when we're going to get a national election? It could be anything up to, you know, I'll take a bet then, all right? James probably knows the answer. I don't know. It's October the 12th. There you are. How do you know? Okay, we've got county council elections next May, so our election teams do a great job, and they've got to get one. I appreciate that. We'll talk about Peter Christie as well, because we've lost. We come on, yeah, but just to say, we don't realise some of the work that our officers do in Biddyford, and do a great job. I'm very proud of the way they do it, and they've been working hard. And it's funny how it's like red buses. You know, you don't see one for ages, and they all come along in 3s. And I've been down at Landcross waiting to catch the bus to Torrington to get an old age pension bus pass, and they never come along. And then you see 2 come together, one going to Exeter and one going to Torrington. And it's just the way it is. We've got 3 elections coming up, so our team's been working fairly hard. We've also got a new council now elected last May, so it's almost like 5 elections in 2 years, I suppose, really. We're beginning to settle down a bit. We've got a new strategic plan in place. That's fitting in place. We're doing a lot of good work. We've been part of the collaboration that's worked at the Torridge Creamery. We've got the Appledore Maritime Centre coming down there. That's now been pretty well flattened down there and a big investment coming, and we hope that will bring lots of jobs from that point of view. So we wait to see the development point of view. And with planning, I did come up the road tonight, past already close, and I'm glad to see there was no mud on the road, but I didn't actually drive into the entrance to Everclear. I can see there's a question coming in a minute on this one, but we're all monitoring that one all the time. But there's been one heck of a wet winter, unfortunately. I've already seen the sun all the winter from that point of view. And lastly, I just want to pay tribute to one of our long-serving councillors, Peter Christie. Many of you have known Peter. He worked hard. He's been a great servant to Torridge, and the gap he's left in the meetings since last October when he first became well, and I think that he was fitness and health last May when the elections took place. I think it's a lesson to us all to enjoy the days you got, because you don't know quite what's around the corner, quite frankly. So Peter's been a great servant, and we sadly miss him. So that's my report from Torridge. And I know there might be one or two questions coming from Orly, or that you're part of the world down there. I'll take any questions if that's okay with you, Chair.
Yeah, of course.
I think you weren't here, Phil, for the sorry, that's on for the members' reports, but we're getting a lot of moans again about, as you can imagine, Alison Homes and the lorries and where they're going and what they're not doing, and they're not doing correctly, and they're going up the wrong roads and everything else. I know they're trying to keep the roads clean, but it's not keeping roads clean when you're using a dry thing on a dry day, and which is a sort of unusual to have dry days. But are we right in thinking that they are suspending their work down there for now?
Right, I don't know the answer to that question as the first direct response to you. I do apologise that I didn't come to your meeting with Alison Home. I think it was on the 22nd of February, if I remember rightly, without having a diary in front of me. We had a presentation on the Brunswick Wharf development in Bideford that unfortunately I was conflicted to, and I went to that one, so I do openly apologise for not being here to meet with Alison Home at the point of view. But in discussions from the previous meeting from that, I think we discussed that we put everything through Jill, so there was a central point, and we've got an enforcement officer that's fully aware of it, of the situation, called Helen Mason. I've been in contact with him, and Helen is working really hard from Torridge to try and work through the situations here. Make sure your representations go through Jill, because there's one collective place of where you know those represent. And I haven't been, I came through tonight, but I haven't been through Buckland for strange enough, for 3 weeks. First time for a long time not going through Buckland. And I've been really nervous this winter because of the wet weather. But if you can, make your comments through Jill. And I will try and follow up. And I am in contact with a lady called Helen Mason at Torridge, who is fully aware of the complaints you have put in before.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Just before we move on, is there anyone in the public who would like to ask a question of our councillors while they're here? No? No. Go on, George.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. I spent 3 hours looking at the devolution thing you sent out, whatever, and reiterate what you said. All I could see was there's going to be extra layers of costs. That's going to be unbelievable. But will it improve on the education system, that the South Devon Education Department get more money per child than what we do up here, which is grossly unfair. Also, I'm not sure who to speak to. There's a local family born here, living here. They want to get on the affordable homes list for rent. I'm not sure which, whatever. And Alison Homes, and they don't know. They try to contact Torridge. They've tried to deal with it, whatever. They were born here, live here, work here. How do they go about being able to, in their village, get on the affordable homes list, whatever you do? And also, James, there is 1 or 2 people. James, how do we contact you? Your numbers, telephone numbers have altered.
My telephone number, my county council phone, that phone that's sat over there is paid for by Devon County Council, and that is on our website. I'll make sure Joe's got that. I suspect she has. It ends 939, but I don't know what it is. She'll tell you. But the one that's, if you wish to tell your parishioner, just put in Councillor James Morris, and that telephone number is that phone there. Okay. In terms of the North Devon, South Devon divide, it is not just education. It is lots of things. It's roads, it's everything, purely because there are 43 of them lower side of the A30 and 24 of us up here top side of the A, and votes mean prizes. It's as simple as that. And Exeter is included in that, so you've got conurbations like Exeter, Newton Abbot, big conurbations of people, and the biggest one we've got is Bideford and Barnstable. And we've got this huge area, you know, Holsworthy, you look at Holsworthy, but there's only 3,200 people in the Holsworthy area. My whole area from here to Launceston, the whole Holsworthy rural ward is 13,400 people, which is a quarter of the amount of people, no, not even a quarter of the amount of people that live in Exeter.
That should be irrelevant.
Well, it is and it isn't, George. But the truth of the matter with education is that you're quite right. Every child, every Devon child should have the same amount, full stop.
Yeah.
You could go one further and say, why have other parts of the country got more per children than those in Devon, whether in South Devon or North Devon? But that's probably a bigger argument. Look, I will take it to our children's executive member is Andrew Ledbetter.
If you would, please.
I was with him yesterday. I'm with him again tomorrow. And I will ask a question. I don't want to give you a wrong answer. I don't know the two figures,
If we don't bring
but
it
he
up,
will.
If we don't bring it up, it ain't highlighted.
Correct.
And just one extra thing, the Scottish kids get 1.5 times what everything does.
But I will ask Andrew tomorrow. In terms of your other one, I'll pass over to Phil.
Right, the other one, James, George was very much sorry. Was about
affordable homes.
Affordable homes.
For people living in here.
Okay.
And they tried North Devon homes, they tried everything. They can't get on a list for Allison homes in their own village.
Okay, then I will. Well, there's a thing called Devon Home Choice, okay, which is... Have they gone now? You probably know, Kirsten.
They've been on and off. They've been on and off, some of them, and they are, people have moved.
Stacey, can I ask you help? You help me out here?
So that, I don't know about Alison Homes per se, but you have to register at Devon Home Choice and make sure they stay on Devon Home Choice, because a lot of them have a local connection. So you might get a low banding, but if the banding is only in relation to local and connection, they'll be picked from that list, but that's a priority thing. If you want to drop me an email, and if I'm
Thank you.
the housing team, and we can help them with that application, but that's the predominant thing. I don't know whether the houses are ready. I can check on my Okay, so yeah, so if anyone wants to drop me an email, they can't, if they want to help them, we can get them registered on Devon Home Choice, but they must be on that.
Thank you. This isn't the only time this happened this way, other developments. Local people have not been able to get on here, and they've let everybody else, I know Dave Watson wants it all delivered and everywhere, but it's the local people here.
And I hear that a lot, I do hear that a lot, but a lot of the time they're not registered. So if it's a 106 agreement and there's a local connection to it, they're registered on Devon Home Choice and they can prove they're lived within the locality and comply with that, then they will
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
That's good.
Will do. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I agree with Stacey, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just to say, tomorrow, we've got Plans Committee, and one of the applications is for a local needs home in Muntley Parish, just as you go up towards Catsper Cross, and a local family both working in camp. They lost the rented sector, and family are trying to support them, and then we're trying to get local needs. And interesting about the devolution deal, I gather money has been drawn down, and I think there was changes in the budget a couple of weeks ago to bring in more money towards self-build, towards affordable homes. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to actually tap into that money, but we need to be really asking those questions, how we balance up what is now becoming a very unfair housing market for younger families. And what frightens me most of all, when I look at our demography of our area, 2011 census, the average age of towers is 47. 2021, it was 51. So every year that goes by, the average age of a Tard resident goes up 4.8 months. And it's now probably 53. So I'm still quite old when it compares to it, but I look around on our council, I think the majority of us are way past our sell-by date, quite frankly. And that's the way it is, you know, but we're still there. So we have a huge issue coming forward for the future about keeping key workers. And interestingly, we had external ONS commit overview and scrutiny, invite relevant partners who deliver services for our community. And then the Appledore Shipbuilders came along last autumn. and they are looking now to increase their workforce, and they were looking to pay an average of just on 30 grand a year, but they didn't think that would be enough now to buy houses in the area, so they can't find the workforce just to meet what is a really good industry. And when I think that we're losing social care, and I don't know if anybody who have been involved in social care, you provide social care, James, you know, particularly for those who pass the financial assessment, I don't know where we're going to get the structure for the future to provide the services we need as we've got an ageing population, and I'm quite concerned. So I'm going to move to Plymouth in 5 years' time. Let's see what happens from that point of view. But it is a huge thing that's happening. I hope that answers your question. Give me a ring if you've got anybody who is struggling with it, and I will try and...
I will.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, George.
I will.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Yeah. I would also just like to point out the cost of a devolution and all the rest of it. You don't have extra paper or whatever. There's 9 councillors here on parish councillors. We don't cost a penny.
I very often say that, George. In County Hall, I very often say that.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody wants, you know, let's say from a district point of view,
We probably cost the National Health System a fair amount.
Well, yeah, it costs
Tranquilise.
George, if you want to be a district councillor, the election is in 3 years' time. I put your name forward because at the very minimum, I get 5 grand a year for doing district council work, and I put in about 30 hours a week.
I'm not criticising you, but when they talk about the cost of the layers, there is throughout the country, parish councillors get zilch.
Well, well done, parish councillors. There you are. I congratulate you because you are. And what worries me on parish council, and I congratulate Buckland, because you and Northam were the only parishes that had an election last May, and you were brave enough to put your names above the parapet and go out and fight for your corner. So very few parishes did that. So congratulations for that. Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, it's not a question really, but on a positive thing, the number of children at school has gone up. And that's, I guess, part of the reason of the new houses, yeah, and other things. But
good, I'm glad to see.
Nothing to do with me.
Very fertile.
Yeah.
Village and the village school is such an asset to a community. I noticed. I mean, I've got Monkley, and I've got Buckland, Brewer, and Abbotsham. Those are the 3 schools I got from the award, and a school and a pub and a church, and occasionally a chapel. You know, you've got a really good community here. You've got a community shop as well, which none of the other parishes have got. So congratulations to you guys for that as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? May I go, Chair?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Becoming regular. Okay, moving on then, there's one planning application. I guess everyone's had a look at it. Yeah, everyone had a look?
Sorry, I missed over.
Let me show you.
I'm not trying to breathe.
Okay, it's a 2-storey extension to the back of a house in Hawley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 9, isn't it?
Yeah. Any?
Can I just ask?
Declare an interest because it's on my estate.
Are you going to gain for it? Are you going to be the builder? Are you going to?
Yeah, don't be a builder.
No.
Can I just ask, are they on this? Where are they going to park? Are they taking up car parking space?
No.
They're not.
It's a rear extension.
A rear extension.
Yeah, rear extension. Any comments? Anyone? Any objections? Are we all in favour? All in favour? Okay. Right, Joe, you're on again. Receipts and payments accounts. The election expenses are less than we thought, aren't they? Yeah.
Joe, why are the election expenses coming out of this year rather than last year?
Because the invoice was only received this week.
Right.
Oh, yeah, because we didn't have it there.
Can I just ask, it's a bit of a duller question. On the Thornley Moor graziers, we, like everybody else, they're all getting older. If they're not farming, it stays with the person, and when they're unfortunately deceased, the payment that goes to that grazier, does that come back? What happens to it all? If they've moved off, is it stay with the farm or does it stay with, Mr. Hewitt might know. Sorry, yeah.
It stays with the land.
Stays with the land.
Okay.
Irrespective of the moon
Yeah.
is there, if the payment is, if the registration is to the land.
Yeah, thank you. I thought it was, but thank you.
Anything else, Joe? Okay, that brings us to the end. So I'm going to close the meeting now and we'll have a break before moving into the part 2. Thank you, everyone.